Alright guys, just in this video today, hoping to just hopefully clear a few things up for anybody just that gets a bit overwhelmed by all the information overload and gets a bit confused, and hopefully it can just help you out and just kind of give you a bit more focus, okay? So I've put up here just on the board, it's just a wee kind of chart, and it's not very highly scientific or anything, but it's just kind of the way I've started to kind of view fitness a wee bit. So it's just basically if you're to kind of view people on a 1 out of 10 scale. So if you were to say 1 out of 10 is like very obese or very overweight, and then 10 out of 10 is like your fitness models, ripped six-pack, all this sort of crack, and then kind of everyone else kind of in between. So number 2 would be maybe a wee bit heavy or maybe a stone or plus on. 3 would be watching what you eat and maybe doing a wee bit of light exercise like walking or whatever. 4 is then your casual gym goer with like a half-decent diet. 8 to 9 out of 10 would be people training 5-6 days a week, taking nutrition serious, and then your 5, 6, 7 is probably kind of the people in between that, maybe the people that are working out the right way and doing proper kind of resistance work and all that sort of stuff, okay? So we'll use that as our guideline, and we'll just kind of try and explain a few things from there. So a few wee notes just up here as well. So basically, when you're anyone that's at like a 1 out of 10, you know, really anything's going to kind of make progress or get to 2 out of 10 or 3 out of 10. When you're at that level, you know, if you just clean up your diet and quit eating the crap and try and get out for a bit of walking and a bit of exercise, you know, you'll make progress. And that's where maybe some of the kind of the debates about Weight Watchers Slimming World, and a lot of trainers like to slam them. Like, you know, not that I wouldn't be maybe their biggest fan either, but they're a great starting point for a lot of people that are used to eating loads and loads of calories and loads of just rubbish. You know, if you can kind of tone that down a wee bit and get them started and maybe try and get them exercising, then it's a good starting point. I know a right few members with us have, you know, they've been doing the Weight Watch diet or the Slimming World diet and trained with us, and they've got great results from it. Like, so it's definitely not all bad and does have its place. But as you move further along the chart and you want to get better results, everything needs to be looked at a bit closer. So that was kind of just my next point, is things need to change as you progress. And you know, the good story was, just that reminds me of that, is the gym I used to walk in, there was a man came in and he had his jacket on, and you know, we managed to kind of bring it around and button it to the front, and he was saying that when he started in the gym, the jacket wasn't even able to meet, you know, because he just had such a big belly and so much weight on. And I was just saying, just good man yourself or whatever. And I just asked him, how do you do it or whatever, and he was saying basically cut out the crap in his diet, and then he started doing spin 3 times a week. And since I've been there, that was maybe a couple of months I was in it, he hadn't really changed much more, and he was doing maybe 4 or 5 spin classes a week. So, and you could tell just the way we were chatting, his philosophy was that you know, if he lost this amount of weight with 3 spins, if I do 4 or 5, I'll lose even more weight. And you know, that's where people kind of get bogged down with the walking and the cardio on the treadmill and all this sort of stuff. If I lost so much weight running 30 minutes on the treadmill, now I just have to run an hour and push myself harder. Doesn't really work like that. And you know, it'll just end up leading to a lot of frustration and kind of like just injuries, repetitive strain injuries, all that sort of stuff. And so you just want to be careful of that. As you move along the chart and you progress, you need to keep looking at it and maybe changing things up a wee bit, and maybe changing the way your diet, the structure of your diet, and definitely the working out and the exercise would want to change as well. So yeah, the next point then is just the way people get confused. If you're reading a magazine and you're going with the people that are like 10 out of 10, you can start getting overwhelmed and put a lot of pressure on yourself. You know, their workouts are very advanced and their nutrition programs very advanced for what they need to do. So, you know, people be sometimes reading them and they get very overwhelmed and it can put people off. So you just you want to stay away from that stuff if you're at a starting point. If you're at 8, 9 out of 10 and you're looking to get to that point, then that's okay. But, you know, if you're just starting off, you want to keep it a lot more simpler than that and a lot more basic. You know, sometimes trainers as well can get very confused with that. And instead of getting somebody who's even at like a 2 out of 10 and trying to progress them to 3 and just kind of move them along, you know, they're bombarding them and overwhelming them with all this kind of crazy stuff and kind of real advanced stuff, and it kind of puts the person off. So you just you want to always ease people in gently and build them along, and that's really what works best. So as well as that, yeah, so most people, anyone you talk to, they always want to be like the 10 out of 10 or the 9 out of 10, but they don't really. Once you kind of put on them the commitments and the sacrifice involved, you don't really want to be there. And it reminds me of a story as well from a trainer that was saying, you know, we had a person in, he had a woman in, he was just asking about her goals or whatever, and she was saying she wanted to get back to where she was 12 months previous, where she could see her abs and she was in great shape, and she wanted to get back to that. And he just asked her, like, why do you want to get there? How did you feel back then when you were in that shape? And when she started to think about it, she remembered she was actually very cranky all the time. She was grumpy, she was narky, and she wasn't that happy at all. So he was just like, so why do you want to get back to that point? And when she thought about it, she was like, you know what? Yeah, I don't want to be like that again. You know, even just a wee bit of short of that would be okay. So, you know, most people, when you start talking about you have to cut out like the socialising at the weekends and really dial in on the diet to get to like 8, 9, 10 out of 10, you realise you don't really want it that much. The general population, if we can get everybody up to like 5, 6, 7, you know, everyone will be a lot fitter, a lot healthier. If you're talking about 5, 6, 7 like out of 10 is, you know, just fit, healthy, not overweight, in decent shape, keeping a good eye in your diet without being obsessive about it. If we can get everyone to that point, then, you know, everything will just be great, you know, and it'll be a lot better. Everyone will be a lot healthier, and there'll be less kind of illnesses and disease, all that sort of crack. So yeah, the average person walking the street would be like a 2 or a 3 out of 10. You know, they might have a stone on, they might be a 3 out of 10 where they're kind of lightly watching what they eat. They're trying to cut out the crap, and they're doing a wee light bit of exercise, maybe a wee bit of walking, or, you know, they might play a sport once a week, a bit of five-side soccer or something like that. But really, most people are at that level, and, you know, we need to try and push people up to maybe 4, 5, 6. Like I said, if we can get everyone at the 5, 6, 7 out of 10 level, then, you know, a lot of people will be in a lot better shape, and they'll be all the better for it. But most people walking the streets they're far too low on the chart, if you know what I mean. So again, I remember in the gym we used to take people's body fat percentage, and most people used to be around the 40%, which is very high. And there was a bit of an argument one day because one of the lads that I was working with took one of the girls, and she was like about 40%, and, you know, she was thin, but she didn't like this, and none of the girls liked it, and it didn't go down well. But the problem was, you know, not to say she was skinny fat or whatever, but there was a bit of that. She was going to the gym every day, but she was doing all the cardio stuff, all the running, all the biking, and not really hitting the weights hard or hitting them right. And when she went home, she was probably eating, like, you know, healthy, fat-free stuff. So she wasn't really doing it spot on. And most people, used to take a lot of body fat percentages, and most people would be around 40% mark, which is far too high. And you know, so the average is meant to be lower than that, but of course, you know, it's hard to know what the average is when you compare it all. So, like I said, most people would be walking the streets would be like a 2 or a 3 out of 10, even though they mightn't like that and it might seem a bit drastic. That's the way it is now, and that's the way it's went. And like I said earlier, you know, if we can get everyone 5, 6, 7 out of 10, it'd be a lot better. And it will get harder because, you know, there's more foods and healthy options out there. And, you know, there's more and more technology out there, so it's even easier to lie on our arse all day and, you know, to get everything handed to us and to talk to our friends and Facebook and all this sort of crack without having to do anything. So, yeah, we just need to kind of change things up a wee bit. So, what's my next point? I think I have most of them covered there. So basically just the take-home message is you just want to kind of, for yourself, you just want to kind of focus and just try and actually think, what kind of level do you want to be at, what do you want to strive to, within reason, realising that, yeah, if I'm going to eat this, if I'm going to be out every Saturday night, it's going to put me at a certain point. I'll not get to that 10 out of 10 point. But, you know, just realise what level you need to be at, what do you want to get to next. If you're at a 1 out of 10, you should be able to get to 2 out of 10. Don't overanalyse it, don't worry about all the other steps. Get to 2 out of 10. When you get there, take it from there, try and get to 3 out of 10 and build it up like that. And, you know, that's the best, simplest way of doing it. Even if some guy wants to try and flog you something and say, you know, you'll do X, Y, Z. But, you know, if you can just kind of chip the block and just make it up through the chart, you know, you'll be flying. And then once you get to the point, like a 7 out of 10 for most people, if you were to get there, that'd be great. And then once you get there, just enjoy it. Don't make up wee numbers in your head. You know, like you see members there that maybe they weigh something like 9 stone 2 and they want to get to below 9 stone, and you ask them, will you ever below 9 stone? and they go, oh no, no. And you're like, oh, so why do you want to get there now? But it's just a wee number in their head. Even though that last £3 wouldn't be healthy for them, they've dragged themselves up the walls trying to get rid of that last couple of pounds. So like, why bother? Just enjoy it. Whatever target you're at. Enjoy it, and just enjoy the rest of your life, you know, outside of fitness kind of. And just get on with it. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you learned something from it. If you have any suggestions or comments, just leave them below. Thanks for watching. Chat to you later.